Warhammer with Sheep here, bringing you a battle report. This time we're continuing on the campaign of the Mask of Nagash, and I am pitted up against our clubmate Colin, who is playing Warriors of Chaos for the campaign game, and it is just a regular battle line scenario, with the exception that some tables have the Mask of Nagash, which fries your heroes when they pick him up, or pick it up. So let's go down the list. We are just doing just a very standard 1,000 points, really low point game of Warhammer. I brought my Dark Elves, and Colin brought Warriors of Chaos. I have 11 Dark Riders with crossbows and spears. I brought a Hydra because War Hydras are amazing at this low point value. I have 5 Doomfire Warlocks. On his side, he has 18 Warriors of Chaos with a Wizard of, I think, just a level 1 Fire Wizard, or he may have had the Ruby Ring. And his storybook character is also in there too. And I think he also has a BSB in there too. So 3 characters, 17 Warriors of Chaos with Halberds and Mark of Nurgle. And we have a Chariot in his core. And then we have 3 Juggernauts. On my right flank, we have some Executioners. I think there, let's see, was that? It's like 12, 15, it should be 14 Executioners, my storybook character. 5 more Doomfire Warlocks because I love them, and because the Coldwell Knights have done so well for me for the past 3 games, I'm bringing them. So here's a look at my magic items. I put them all onto my storybook character. There was a arcane item, but since my character is not a wizard, he cannot have an arcane item. So here's just a look at what my hero has. They don't really come into effect other than this sweet Reaver bow, which I do shoot a few times to pick off a few warriors here and there. Let's look at first turn. I steal first turn, and I decide not to Vanguard, but my first turn I move up out of his firing arc, and I just decide to shoot at him with my arrows, and it's terrible, and I don't do very well. Everything kind of just stays where it is, because I don't really care. He's going to come to me, and I can move out of the way anyway. So on his first turn, we're skipping right over to Warriors of Chaos. He does a fireball at me, and I'm like, I'm okay with that. And there's just a look at me moving back with the Executioners. Okay, so I did move back a little bit. I was somewhat cautious, not wanting to be charged first turn by these Juggernauts on his turn. I do manage to get a Soul Blight off on the Chariot, and I do shoot some of the Warriors. Fantastic. And then on his turn, he does shoot a fireball at me. Oh, and he makes a Chariot charge into the War Hydra. So, congrats, he made a long charge, and I'm okay with that. He passed his terrain check, but he did make 2 wounds in our first round of combat. Excuse me. Now we're in Warriors of Chaos first turn. The reason why I thought that is because he fireballed me right off the bat, and there was the fireball card right there. Juggers failed to make any kind of connect and redirect, so they just moved forward up like that, and that was sufficient. Now I can do a sweet combo charge with Coldwell Knights and Doomfire Warlocks. Long charge for the Executioners to make, but I can always move them up. My rationale. Here's the shooting from his fireball, which goes off irresistibly, and he loses his wizard levels. D3, so he's down, not even a wizard anymore. But there we have it. 4 Dark Riders dead. I think 1 was killed to a shooting attack of some sort. In the combat, the Hydra was a champ and did a whopping 8 attacks on him because he wasn't wounded, and made all his impact checks, or sorry, impact hits checks, and saved them all. In my combat, I decided to charge with the Coldwell Knights and a pair of Doomfire Warlocks into the Juggers. Really thinking this is about even fight. It's a pretty fair matchup. The fact that I got the charge, I think, is what tips it in my favor, and the fact that I have a banner. His unit does not, and they move up like that, my other Warlocks and my Executioners, with my storybook character. I don't know why we call them storybook characters. There's nothing to do with the storybook. It's just our hero character for the generic campaign, but since everyone else is calling it their storybook character or their hero, it just sort of sticks. So there we have a look. My Dark Riders doing their Dark Rider shenanigans of fast cav and moving behind them. You can see his characters have all their magic items too, and really this is just a scary block that I should have been more cautious with and should have Soul Blighted and Doom Bolted a few more times, but we'll get there. So we have a look. We did a Soul Blight on this combat. It does not go off though, so I was really hoping that would swing in my favor. The Chariot combat did. He put a wound on the Hydra, but after that the Hydra remains victorious, and then the Mask scatters. The Skull of Nagash scatters onto our table. Crap. My hero's over here, his hero's right here, and it's really close. So he's going to likely pick it up. I beat him in combat. You see, no cold ones die, but 3 warlocks fail their ward saves. I kill a Jugger and put, I think, 2 wounds on another. I fail to overrun and catch them, and they run like so. On his turn, they rally. Oh, that's 1 wound on them, not 2. And they pick up the Mask. And Colin is smart, and he decides not to use the Mask. He's just going to hold on to it just in case anybody does attempt to come into contact and want to duel them. But I'm so far away, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm really left with a lot of choice, or not a whole lot of choice. He does get a spell off that makes him move an extra 6 inches or so. On my turn, I'm not quite sure what to do. I really want a combo charge with Warlocks, Hydra, and Dark Riders into the rear, and sort of let them win combat, yes, but have my Executioners come in and mop up everybody. And hopefully I could draw out enough of his attacks on his storybook character that the Light Council will come in and find him and zap him on a 4+ and just be a whole lot of strength 10 hurt put on him. However, wasn't the case. On his turn, the Light Council did not detect him on a 6+. So on my turn, here's a look at my board. I charge everything in. Dark Riders ended up being in a flank, which is not what I was hoping for, and 2 remaining Warlocks, after being shot at them from, I think, a magic missile, make it in. However, I think 1 fails its dangerous terrain test. We attempt a Soul Blight. It does not go through. I was doing the Bubble Soul Blight, 24 inches. I would have got both of his units. He dispels it. Darn it. I think I irresistibly forced that one too. But I may have had some dice left over as I attempt to Soul Blight here, and that one goes off. However, the Hydra dies before it gets to go, and the Warlock also dies before it did anything really of any significance, which leaves 5 or 7 Dark Riders to the mercy of Warriors of Chaos and their Mark of Nurgle. So I'm having a really difficult time. Even though I get to re-roll, I have a difficult time. But so does he. He has a difficult time running me down, so I run away from him. And now I'm posed with the question. I have my Cold One Knights still in combat with these Juggers. I'm possibly going to break him, and if I do, they're going to run off table, and they're going to be dead. But what to do with my Executioners and these other Warlocks? He kills 2 Cold Ones, but I overrun, and I am off the table. I will come back on my next turn. On Colin's turn, Warriors of Chaos, they sort of do like a little reform because they don't want to be facing that way, and the BSB actually leaves the unit, trying to hopefully slow down my Cold One Knights when they come back on the table next turn. Not quite sure what to do with my Executioners, so fearing this unit, I decide to put them into the building. So I do a Doom Bolt, I fail to cast, I think I actually irresistibly forced it, lose a guy in return, and then just run him over here. And then I put my Executioners inside the building. Figured that'd be my best chance now because he can only send 10 guys in. However, my Cold Ones come back on and they couldn't have charged, so maybe I should have left the building next turn, and that might have been probably the best case scenario. Any rate, I'm just hoping and praying and crossing my fingers that he will roll a 6 and the Light Council will find him. This is 2 turns now, and the Light Council has not showed up and zapped him, and he still hasn't used the abilities of the Mask. So not looking too good. I do manage to get a Soul Blight on that unit. He doesn't really care, so he moves his guys like that in his turn to assault the building. Wonderful. And even though he's Soul Blighted, he manages to dispel it. On my turn. And he charges into the building. Now here's where we're going to have a pretty good combat. Executioners are great. My storybook character is strength 6, and he's got a lot of attacks. and he can use any weapon he wants. These cold ones are probably going to have to charge through the forest. That's not always going to be very good. Or I could attempt to kill a BSB. I know he looks like he might be pretty beefy, even though he's got a magic item. I think it was deterring me from charging him. So after combat, he puts the hurt on me, and I put the hurt back on him quite significantly. He's down to, I think I pop his wizard, and I kill everybody except for the storybook character. Or maybe I do kill a storybook character, but the mask was picked up by his wizard, who was no longer a wizard and was just holding the mask as a caddy. One executioner left with my storybook character. I decide in my last turn, hey, why not send in the last warlock? Cold ones failed their charge. His BSB moved over here like that. I got a flank, only fighting a wizard. I could probably kill him if he doesn't use his mask, and then I could overrun him, and then the unit would be destroyed when I beat him in combat res. However, it wasn't quite the way that Colin wanted to have ranked up, and so being a nice clubmate, I let him, and he shifted the wizard over into a different position, and that warlock was fighting Chaos Warriors who killed him. So just to look it over